I'd like to call this meeting of the Human Resource Committee to order. It's Monday, September 11th, 2017, and we're at the Nashua High School North, and it's about 6:40. Can we call the roll? Who's got the roll?
Okay. Mrs. Ziem?
Here.
Dr. Moritaki? Mrs. Oden here. And the alternate, Ms. Hohensee?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Good. Are we ready for a motion on the personnel recommendations?
I move to accept the personnel recommendations of September 11, 2017.
Second.
Are there any questions, comments, concerns?
Somebody taking minutes?
Where's the book?
Is somebody taking minutes? Do we have the book, Mrs. O'Gara? Thank you, Mrs. Hohensee. That was a good catch.
We were going too fast.
Well, we're 10 minutes late. All right, so Mrs. Oden made the motion. Mrs. Hohensee seconded the motion. Are there any questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there any other business to come before this committee? Mrs. Hohensee.
Yes, I have a question. I'd like to know, Mrs. Rothaus is an interim Director of Adult Services. Is this her second year as interim? And why would that be? Is that typical or is that normal? You have an
Mrs.
interim
O'Gara?
for 2 years in a row?
Well, there was the person that previously had the position was in the process of he was working in an interim position at one of our middle schools, and then there was a assistant principal search, and that individual was not selected. So subsequently, he transitioned back to that position, and that left Mrs. Rothaus out of her position. So that individual probably, I want to say, at the beginning of was it? I would say August.
July.
Okay. So it was definitely after July 4th, that whole week. That individual actually found a assistant principal position in another district. So he resigned. We had another opening, and Mrs. Rothaus was available to come in and step in, so to work as an interim. If we were to make the position available, we would need to post it. So she agreed to do the interim position because it was on such short notice, and she continued on with her duties. So we're very pleased to have her back.
Yes, I'm very pleased to have her back. I just thought since she was taking it the second year, it wouldn't require posting, it would require analysis of how well she did the first year and making the position permanent. Is that a possibility, or do we have to post it because of the crazy flip-flopping that's gone on?
My reaction is I haven't talked to her about that possibility. I think it's important to do that. Contractually, we have to explore that to make sure that contractually, I believe we still have to post the position for at least 5 days. Well, I shouldn't say 5 days, but 10 business days. So there is a contractual piece to that job. I don't, she's done a great job. I can't say enough about what she's done for us. However, I haven't talked to her about the possibility of a permanent position.
Okay, thank
Let
you.
the record show that Dr. Moritaki has joined us. Dr. Moritaki, we have already approved the personnel recommendations. Did you have any questions, comments, or concerns for Mrs. O'Gara?
No.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other concerns? Well, I guess I'll give him a chance and then come back to you. Thank you, Mrs. Hohensee.
Thanks. I would just like to get an update on where we are with CTE director search.
We only have about 5 candidates. Mrs. Fitzpatrick is looking at that. I think we're kind of on hold. I recently found a listserv, and I added that position to it, hoping that we can get some more candidates.
So is there a closing date?
Yeah, I don't know the exact date, but it closed. But that doesn't mean that we can't hold it open to gather more candidates.
Okay. So are you reopening the search, or is it just if somebody kind of makes it in by the time you decide. I guess I'm
The
confused.
date on-
If
the
it's
date
closed,
on-
it should be closed, right?
I-
If it's
it-
open.
So there's a closing date on it because that's the closing date when, by the contract, how many days you have to at least keep it open. We keep positions, if we haven't filled them, we keep them open until they are filled.
That's actually what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Sometimes what happens if you don't get enough candidates, we designate that position open until filled, excuse me. So how that works is, let's just say we have some candidates, we go through that process, and Donna's not here, so I can't really speak. I know she's stuck in traffic. But for the sake of discussion, we may go through the first round with the candidates who applied, who met that deadline, but
No problem.
but we haven't found a strong candidate. So we just keep it open until, it's kind of like a roll-in admissions or open admissions until we get a group of individuals that qualify for the position. I know that the candidate pool wasn't as strong as we'd like, but then again, what happened for this position is that the former CTE director resigned in the middle of, at the beginning of August. So it didn't really give us a lot of time to post, and some people have already started school.
Are there any other, did you want to ask Mrs. Fitzpatrick if she had anything to add? No, we understand the traffic was a mess. We were just. Oh, wow. I hope nobody got
You didn't hit
hurt.
the cyclist, did you? Then you have nothing to apologize for.
So, Mrs. Fitzpatrick, the question was about the CTE position, and they were saying that didn't get enough candidates, and we were.
I apologize. I actually went through them again today, and we have one person, and I've talked to Dana about this, one person that has the certification already, another person who has applied for certification from the state. And I was talking to Dana about some people that may be eligible for licensure as a director, but they're not yet. So we hadn't, because we had our other meeting today and so forth, we didn't get a chance to connect on that.
So we're going to check the education regulations. I'm pretty sure that it requires 3 to 5 years in that ballpark of experience as teaching in a CTE area. And
some of the
within-
candidates do
right,
have
and
that.
then we'll
Don't have
know
it.
if they're eligible or not.
So I have 7 viable names on the list, depending on what the state says about getting a directorship license.
Thank you. Any other question did you want to ask?
So with 7 names, are you still going to be looking for candidates?
I think yes, but I think I heard Dr. Mosley say that at this point in the year, it might be a little bit more difficult to woo people here.
So we have the same issue where we may end up with an interim?
That's not my call.
Well, I didn't want to post it first as an interim because I wanted to make sure that you attract more candidates for the permanent position. But we can switch it to an interim if we think we have to.
So my concern is the same concern we had during the summer, filling principal positions down to the wire, which we went down to the wire on a couple, including North. So we are down to the wire.
Past the
I mean,
wire.
thank you. We are past the wire on this one. So I'll just be sensitive to the fact that I understand if you want to hire quickly, excuse me.
Thank you.
Mrs. Hohensee, did you have another?
Yes, I had one more question. I didn't get an email, but I understand we did post for the principal position at Ledge Street?
Yes, I sent an email to BOE 2016, the email address for the Ledge Street principal posting and also for the assistant principal at Nashua High North, the interim. And it went out through Apple Track. Did anybody else get it?
No.
All right. I'll resend it. It was quite some while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Is there any further business? Mrs. Hohensee?
Are we going to start the interviews with the CTE directors to see maybe 1 or 2 of them turn out to be very qualified, or are we just going to delay until we get a bigger pool?
Part of the reason I went to Dana today is that I have a list for folks to serve on the search committee, and I was going to reach out to the candidates and with a date and a time for them to come if they were still interested. Because I have this list, it doesn't mean everyone on it hasn't taken another position somewhere else.
Right.
But I wanted to find out first about the state regs in terms of folks that are eligible for licensure, because that would increase the pool.
Okay, thank you very much.
But as soon as I'm able to get those answers, I have their phone numbers, their names, I'm ready to call them and set things up.
Okay.
We'll catch up on that tomorrow.
Is there any further business to come before this committee? Seeing none, oh, Mrs. Oden? Did you-
Motion to adjourn?
All those in favor? Do I get a second on that? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.